Today we're discussing on my favorite way on researching different AI models and seeing the performance of each of them and seeing how they compare day to day. You know how it is every single day. All the data is changing. They're pushing an update to one model and another, making it better or for the worse. So honestly, I never know it for myself like on a given day until I check this website which AI model is going to be best because it always be changing. So let's open up the link. So this is how the front of the website looks like. It has a bunch of highlights and data. It's ranking O3 Pro on the 4 evaluation combined index. Um, yeah, you could just select on how many models are being compared. Right now it's 20 of the 209. Let's head to the first bar right here, language models, and just straight up compare models. So the highlights are going to be intelligence, speed, and price usually. Uh, my favorite's going to be intelligent index token versus cost. So I like using this because it kind of really evaluates on how much tokens I'm going to be using for like a given task, like inside Claude or not Claude, but like Klein or something. Like right here, intelligence versus output tokens used in artificial AI intelligence. So like this is right now ranking intelligence versus the amount of tokens used. So right here, it's in the green sweet spot. Cloud 4 Sonnet thinking is the only one that's kind of really efficient to use on the output because that's the most expensive thing. Like usually when you see the $2.50 input and then $15 output, the most expensive thing is the output here. And it seems like Gemini 2.5 Pro, even though it's cheaper, is just making their outputs way too long, where it does become more expensive in the long run. And yeah, this is like a better way to run it. But this is off of a different index. So this one's claiming that Cloud 4 Opus is costs the most to run on a given like tool, and then it'll put Gemini 2.5 Pro as the second most expensive, even though it is technically cheaper per millions of tokens. It just comes out that Gemini 2.5 Pro just has way too much to say, where it just becomes way too expensive to run. Even 2.5 Flash, which is like super cheap, uh, becomes kind of expensive here. It all comes down to the reasoning. The reasoning eats up so much of the money. Like 1,500 here, boom, boom, boom. So this is the best way to tell how much money you're going to be spending and like which tool is going to be cheapest to use. It's not going to say which one's the best to use, but this one will be for the given money. It's recommending Cloud 4. It's the best bang for the buck here. Even though on the intelligence, if you used O3, even though it's more expensive, it is going to run you a big tab. And save for 2.5 Pro, even though it's largely cheaper. So here it compares its context windows, shows that Llama 4 has a 10 million context window. That's pretty neat, even though there's not really any uh, places for us to use the full 10 million context window. Intelligence first context window. Yeah, here you can tell like for the context size and input and output prices. You just see how just dang expensive O3 and O4 Opus are. And intelligence first price. Um, this is just the same similar thing here, but this is more based off of USD per million tokens. It's not really talking about actual usage and what it's going to be doing. And you could scroll down to here. You could see like which is performing the best for text to image. We could see right now the quickest text to image is Flux at 0.5 seconds, and then so on. We see quality ELO. We see Chat 4.0 is right now top dog and the best quality. Then Dream, then Image 4, then Recraft. And then we see the cheapest to use is Image 4 Ultra Experimental. Apparently, it's free to use per 1,000 images. That's pretty neat. I'm just finding that out live. And then you can see how the other models are cheap, and then how Chat 4.0 is the most expensive to use. This is quality versus price. If you want to have good quality versus price, it's seeming like you want to be closer to this corner. And these Flex 1, C Dream 3.0, and High Dream, these are seeming like all great options here. Funny enough, 2.0 Flash is not in, but Image 4 is, just because how cheap it is. And then quality versus generation time. This is pretty neat, honestly, because sometimes it takes forever. And the quickest to have a decent photo seems like C Dream and Flex 1 again. Yeah, Flex 1 is pretty dominant here. Let's head over to speech to text. This is like if you want to make an application like personal assistant or just transcribe your book that you're reading right now. Word error rate versus price. So it seems like word error rate is highly valued in this sphere. Seeming like you want to be in this green box. Scribe is pretty good, even though it's pretty expensive compared to all the other ones. Even Chat 4 is cheaper. Chat 4 is honestly the most wrong here. Chat 4 Mini. No, Chat 4 Scribe is 9%. Alright. Word error rate, speed factor. Boom, bang. Speed factor versus price. Whispers could speak a lot. Or to pump out a lot of words at once. So it seemed like Scribe is the best at error rate in front of Enhanced Universal, and then Chat 4.0. Speed wise, if you want to transcribe a big ass book, it's going to be Whisper. Speed versus variance. Input audio seconds, transcribe per second. Okay, this is how fast they're talking. Seeming like Whisper. Oh no, never mind. This is how much they're transcribing per second. This is just how much, how many seconds. So wow, you could print out like multiple minutes per second with Whisper, and so on and so forth. Price pretty valuable here. It seems like Whisper and Whisper are pretty cheap here. Now let's head off to something else. That was speech to text. No, text to speech now. That makes a lot more sense. Saying this is the correct concept, whatever. I was just trying to speak on. Yeah, I'm more familiar with all these people. But it seems like quality speech O2 HD and type to speak 1 from ChatGPT are clearly the best, but honestly, it seems like you can't go wrong as long as you don't go Google's old WaveNet. Arena wins, speech O2 is always winning. Transcribe characters per second, WaveNet can do the most amount of characters per second, which is nice. And a bunch of data here. A lot to absorb at once. Speech to speech. This is nice for like actual AI assisting. This is honestly what you want to see if you're making an AI assistant. Seems like you're going to be using Chat 4.0. Makes sense. They got the best voice assistant out right now, and then it's probably Gemini. I really like Perplexities. I bet they're using ChatGPTs. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's look that up actually. Which voice to voice protocol is Perplexity using? Seems like we're not getting a straight up answer right off the rip. Let's ask Perplexity. If anyone would know, it's them themselves, even though with the typo. While they're figuring that out, let's keep looking. So, we're seeing all this video generation. This is the most exciting area right now. The AI is eating up all my connection. What did they end up saying? Looks like they're using their own plus others. Looks like a combination of multiple. So now we're exploring arenas. You could compare different prompts and then see what kind of videos they would have made off the prompts. And then you could sometimes we'll have a picture to video too with the text prompt. And then so students proudly present an eco-friendly engineering product in a school gym. Robots made recycled materials roam the floor while judges and parents marvel at the creativity and enthusiasm. Honestly, these are both solid options. You could kind of tell what countries each of these models were made in, but clearly the Chinese models honestly made the better video because this girl is just a robot. This is just not even make sense. This isn't even real life. But the movement of the wheels aren't real either. So they're both equally wrong. Like the physics of this makes more sense, but besides the biological physics, it's really a toss up here. We'll give it to the Chinese here. So Kling was worse, and then C Dance 1.0 makes better one, and then same concept goes on, and eventually they're gonna give you what you think on what you've been voting for, and then what others have been voting for. And right now, top dog is C Dance from ByteDance, then VO3 from Google, and then from image to video, same situation, but it seems like Halo O2 is handling for Minimax is handling images to create videos a lot better than VO3 right now. And then you can look at hardware. We could see which hardware is best. It's not that interesting. None of us could really afford any of it. And then, but I guess if you're renting it, that makes sense. You can see AI trends. You can see who's been the frontier model. Seems like Chat's been pretty dominant. Gemini had its peak when it was and was actually in the lead for once when they released Gemini 2.5 Pro for the first time. And then now with the official release of Gemini 2.5, it's seeming like it's becoming a frontier language again over the O3 Pro. But honestly, the O3 Pro is probably the better model. It just needs to be more used. You can see the capital expenditure and see how the trends. I noticed that Oracle's spending a lot of money, which and you haven't heard anything about it, but so is Amazon. Amazon's spending the most, and they have one of the worst models at the moment. But they'll probably come out at top. And yeah, they're ranking intelligence off release date. Gemini has always been in this linear line, not Gemini, but OpenAI, and then everybody else is trying to keep up. Anthropic's pretty low scored around here, usually uh, having Grok 3 Mini and DeepSeek R1 ranked in front of it, even though people love to use Anthropic for Sonnet. Yeah, that pretty much concludes the site mostly. This is the last thing I really have to show. I think this is pretty interesting. You can see similar to the arenas, you can see what they made, but you can't really vote on it. Like I guess I could emote it, but it's not really the main goal. Like this was a prompt code, p5.js animation that is cool and interactive thing based on my cursor and nice visual thing. If mouse move fast, it should change it. So yeah, you can see the Gemini 2.5 Pro handled this pretty well. Faster I move, the bigger the circles are getting. Sonnet 4 had a cooler design and it does function the way it says, but don't think a person would have created it, even though how cool it does look. I do like it. Minstrels. I don't like how there's. I didn't really ask for it to. Oh, I do like how it's following it. That's actually a nice touch. But am I retracting more the faster I go? No, I think I'm just slowly catching up. Oh, they catch me. And then. Bang. Bang. It's kind of getting worse off here with the worse models. Sometimes they're getting it better. Like Alibaba Quen 3 is pretty nice here. This is ChatGPT 4.1. Like if you had like Copilot education, this is what you would have made with the using the free standard request all the way through. And yeah, nice. So that's pretty much all I have to show.